Hello, good morning, students. So, today we will be going to learn about the warehousing structures and what is the importance of warehousing, what are the different kinds of warehousing, and what is warehousing. Okay, so this is an important topic that falls under the inventory and risk management because the inventories uh, which have been collected or which have been the raw materials, whatever be the kind of inventory, whether that's a raw material, semi finished good, or a finished good, that have to be stored during transportation, or once we shift from one location to another location in distribution channel. These inventories have to be stored, these have to be stocked. So there should be warehouses. The warehouses are being used to store these inventories so that it can be protected and it will be safe from deterioration and all. So we'll be learning about warehousing structures in India and what is warehouse, why it is important, what are the different kinds of warehousing facilities available, and according to the product or according to the inventory, the warehousing structures will be different, and based on the ownership also the inventory structures, the warehousing structures are different. So we'll be discussing about those. So, warehousing is a scientific storage structure especially constructed for the protection of the quantity and quality of to store the products. So these are certain scientific storage structures especially constructed to protect the quantity and quality of the store product. The store products are the inventory. So to protect this inventory on the basis to protect the inventory, the quality, and to maintain its quality and quantity, certain scientific storage facilities are being constructed, certain structures are being constructed. So such storage structures, scientific storage structures to protect the inventory from the quantity and the quality deterioration are termed as warehouses. So why do we need a warehouse? Okay, so it balances the supply and demand. So it helps in storing the inventory and it helps in balancing the demand. Whenever there is a demand in the market, the supply can be met if the inventory are stocked. And the second is provide safe custody, that is for the protection of this inventory from quantity and quality and other deterioration. So third is facilitates for processing, packing, blending, grading, etc. So this inventories may be stored for processing, packing, blending and grading. And next is buffer stocking. Buffer stocking is maintaining a safety stock for future uses. Then fifth is security to borrowers. Okay, this warehouse receipt, when we store this inventory in certain warehouses, in public warehouses or central warehousing centers or a state warehousing corporation or central warehousing corporation, we receive the one who is stocking, the one who is storing this inventory in the warehouses receives a warehouse receipt. This warehouse receipt can be used as a document for receiving loans and also as a security document in borrowing money and all. So these are the major benefits of warehousing or stocking the inventory in warehouses. Okay, so we'll see what are the types of inventory or types of warehouses based on the ownership. So based on the ownership, there are two types of warehouses, that is a public and a private. In public, examples are NCDC, CWC, that is Central Warehouse Corporation, SWC, that is a State Warehouse Corporation, FCI, that is a buffer stocking organization of India, that is Food Corporation of India, where the food, grains, pulses, cereals and everything will be stocked for the future consumption, that is a FCI. SWC stands for State Warehousing Corporation, CWC stands for Central Warehousing Corporation, NCDC. Okay, so these are the public honored warehouses. Okay, so warehouses has been divided based on the ownership and services. So on the basis of ownership, we have again divided that into public and private. In the public, we have 4 categorizations. Okay, now we will discuss in detail. On services basis, the warehouses are being divided as bonded, field warehousing, storage, cold storage warehousing, distribution warehousing, buffer stock, export and import. So we'll discuss in detail. So based on the type of ownership, the public warehousing, so how the public and private is different. Honored, the ownership operated by the organization like a government, the central government or state government or cooperatives. Okay, so such are termed as the public warehouses. NCDC is a cooperative warehousing, and the government warehousing or state warehousing, the central and state are CWC and SWC, and FCI is also central government warehousing organization, that is the FCI, Food Corporation of India. Now this have a higher operating cost. The public warehouses have a higher operating cost, and they are flexible in nature in changing the location, size, and it also offers different kinds of facilities to the the store product, and it also adds value to the services and other value-added services which are necessary to increase the margin and also to continue to attract the customers. So certain value-added services are also provided by these public warehouses to increase the margin and also to attract the customers. Next, based on the ownership, we have the second category is private one. So this will be owned by certain companies handling the goods, that are the godowns or certain companies. For example, the Big Bazaar, they have their own private stocking centers, that is warehousing centers. Reliance, they have their own warehousing centers, that is the private companies having certain warehouses or storage areas to store their product, and the operating cost in this private is very minimal, and more risk is associated with the private warehousing other than the public warehousing. Okay, now we will see what are the major differences, how we can differentiate the public and private warehousing. A public warehouse, it is owned by organization like government and cooperatives. Here it is handled by certain companies to maintain their own, to stock their own goods. Okay, the initial investment is zero in case of public warehousing, whereas in private the initial investment is high because it requires large facilities, equipments and trained persons, and in public the goods control due to incentive to perform on short term contract, and here the direct responsibility over personnel and procedures are involved. Risk is more in private as risk is very less in public, and tax benefits are received by the public warehouses, but the private warehousing, if we stock in private warehousing, no tax benefits will be allowed, and here the exact charges of from the in stocking in public warehousing can be known, but in private then approximate charging can be only known, and large economic gain is in public warehousing, whereas the companies in private warehousing, it is the gain, the profit is all based on the company's volume of items that is stocked. Okay, and it is very less flexible in case of public and more flexible as compared to the FMC, the public in case of private warehousing. So these are the major differences between the public and private warehousing. So types of warehousing now we will discuss based upon the services which are offered. So the first one is bonded warehousing. It is a licensed and authorized by the custom authority for storing of goods till the import duty is due on its paid. That is owned either by the government or private. There can be private and public warehouses. As bonded warehouses, there are public bonded warehouses and private warehouses, but what happens here, the licensed and the authorized custom authorities are stocking these goods till the import duty is due or the import duty is paid. Okay, next is field warehouses. These are simple warehouses which are managed by the public warehousing agencies near to the factory, that is in the field. Okay, next is cold storage. Cold storage warehouses, to stock the agriculture commodities which are perishable in nature. Okay, perishable and seasonal in nature. So next is distribution warehouses. These are the warehouses that are generally located near to the market area, which are owned and operated by the manufacturers of the goods in huge quantity. Here, when there is a wholesaler, the wholesalers may also have certain distribution warehouses. So to make it the ease of distribution, the distribution can be made easy. So for that there will be distribution warehouses. Next is buffer stock warehouses. These are the certain warehouses in which the goods are stored for the safety purposes. Okay, and export and import warehouses, these are located near to the ports, the sea ports or airports, so that international trade can happen, and the international trade will be easy, so the goods can be stored. Now we will see what are the major functions of warehousing, the economical functions and operational functions. Economical functions include consolidation, bulk, stockpiling, value-added services, scientific storaging, financing, price stabilization, market intelligences. And operational functions include receiving of goods, up-to-date recording, protecting and preserving, proper handling of goods, dispatching of goods. So we will discuss in detail. So economical functions or economical functions of warehousing, the first one is consolidation, that is a product. For example, the automobile industries, different products, the different parts of the automobile or a vehicle will be produced in different plants, so that will be consolidated in a particular warehouse, and that will be combined together, assembled together, and the product will be delivered to the customer. Here in the graph, here in the diagram, you can see that from plant A, plant B, plant C, they produce different products like X, Y, Z respectively, and that has been consolidated in the warehouse, and a new product XYZ is produced. This XYZ is delivered to customer M, N and O separately. So these are consolidated or consolidation function of the warehousing. Next is break bulk. Break bulk is when a product have to be breaked into different bulks. For example, when we have discussed the earlier example, the consolidation or we have coordinated, the combined all the different products to make a particular item. Here what happens, a particular item is divided into different items. Here in plant A, XYZ, that product is produced in the warehouse, the break bulk warehouse. We are breaking the product, breaking the good into X, Y, Z separately, and this is being delivered to each customer. Next is value-added services. Value-added services include the basic product, the raw material will be transferred to the value-added, some other value addition will be done, or branding will be done, labeling will be done, or packaging will be done, and that will be delivered to the customer. That is the value-added services. Next is stockpiling. Stockpiling includes like for the agriculture products, we have to, like, they are seasonal in nature and perishable in nature, so that have to be stocked for the further uses. The FCI does this function, that is stockpiling. In the seasonal storage of goods to get economics of scale and provide goods in off season to the customer. Certain private warehouses also do, like for example, when the onion in the season of onion, like when the onion or potatoes, like they can be stored for the future uses also. So what they do is, when there is a large supply of these vegetables, the onions or potato, these will be stocked in the warehouses, and when the supply is less, when it is out of season, these stocked produces will be coming out, so that they can earn a large economics of scale. That is stockpiling. And other functions are scientific storage. This warehousing provides the scientific storage so that the quantity and quality can be maintained. Financing, these warehouse certificates, I already told, the warehouse certificates can be used for loans and borrowings. Next, price stabilization. When there is when the product is highly available in the market, the price will be fluctuating, that is the price will go down, and in the off season the price will increase like anything. To stabilize this price in a median of this high and low price, this warehousing helps to an extent. Next is market intelligence. So these are the major economical functions added by the warehousing. facility. Now operational functions are that are related to the daily activities, that is receiving of goods. When goods are received, we need to store that, so these warehouses helps in that. Up to date recording of goods received, issued and balanced. To maintain a proper recording of the goods received, that is the goods received and which are being sold out, and to maintain a balance. Next, storing of goods it at an appropriate place and according to size. So in these warehouses we will be packing, or we will be storing this according to the date of issue, maybe according to the quality, maybe according to the grade, maybe according to the size. So according to different categorization, these goods are being stored. So this can be stored in a particular category, and based upon this category and in a particular place, and in a according to the size or the quantity. So it's add value to the market. Next is protecting and preserving the physical attributes of the product. So this will be protected and preserved for future use, and the quality and quantity can be maintained. Proper handling of the goods. Other operational functions include ordering, receiving, processing, filling. These also takes place. Marshalling of goods in terms of assortment of various goods, dispatching of goods. For example, as we told, in consolidation purpose, what happens, different products from different plants will be came and will be received, and that will be combined together to produce a new particular product, and that will be delivered to the market. So dispatching of goods also happen. What happens with this Amazon, Flipkart and all this, there will be certain warehouses or stocking particular places. So these produces which have to be delivered to a particular area will be collected in a particular locality, and that will be stored in a particular place. From there, that will be dispatching to the nearby locations. Also next function is called preparation of documents pertaining to transaction records and advices. Next, market intelligences and act as an intermediary between the company and customer, that is providing documental evidences or records or statistical information to both to the company and the customer. Other legal functions are also associated with the trade. So these certificates of warehousing and this warehousing function also helps in certain legal aspects. Next, we will learn what are the major costs associated with warehousing. So there are fixed cost, variable cost and the total cost. So the fixed cost, these are the permanent costs associated with the infrastructure. So these are the costs which are a permanent nature and remain the same irrespective of the quantity stored in the warehousing. So the factors affecting fixed cost are like what are the costs involved in fixed cost, like what are the factors associated. The depreciation of the building and machinery, as year goes, the depreciation, the infrastructure depreciation happens, or if there is machineries associated with the warehousing, the depreciation happens. So depreciation cost is associated with the fixed cost. Insurance premium to be paid. Next, taxes and license fee, repair and maintenance charges, interest on loan in the construction, salary of the permanent staff if there is a security or maintenance staff, so the salary associated with them, cost of records and bookkeeping. So in the next class we will be discussing on record and bookkeeping in inventory, how the records have to be maintained. Already we have seen how the record, what are the different kinds of record to be maintained, but in the upcoming class we will be discussing what are the bookkeeping, how the bookkeeping will be done, what are the method of bookkeeping, what are the like what is bookkeeping, what is record keeping, like all those according things we will be discussing. Next, rent and minimum fixed charges of the electricity. These are the fixed cost associated, okay, with the warehousing. Now we will discuss what are the variable cost. Variable cost, these are flexible in nature, that are varying in nature. So these are the cost of varying nature, they vary with the quantity stored in the warehouse. If a bulk quantity is stored, then the varying cost will be high. Then if the quantity is less stored, then the varying cost will be less. Like it is based upon the quantity or the volume or the quantum which is stored in the warehouse. Okay, so which are the costs associated, which are the contributors to the variable cost? The cost of protective material used, that is insecticide, pesticides. If certain things are to be stored, there will be certain like associated cost, that is the cost for protective materials used. Next is cost of electric power, wages of the temporary labor, there in the fixed cost the salary of the permanent employee, here for the temporary labor. Next is cost of raw material. So these are the major costs associated with the warehousing. Okay, so I hope the concept of warehousing, the types of warehousing based on ownership and services, functions of warehousing, and the cost associated warehousing is been clear to you all. And by this we complete the warehousing, and there is a practical work for you. So now you have to discuss, or you have to prepare a self study report on the different kinds of different of warehousing facilities which are available in India, that is in the private or in the public. So we have discussed the NCDC is there, CWC is there, SWC is there, and FCI is there. So prepare a detailed report on this different kinds of warehousing, the warehouses which are available in India. So by this we conclude the session. Thank you all.